time for Cigar Talk, the fastest growing cigar show in the nation. Whether you're a new cigar enthusiast or a cigar aficionado, we have something for everyone, bringing you the best interviews, cigar reviews, and weekly giveaways. So grab yourself a cigar.
It's time to light 'em up.
Welcome back, Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones. We have special co-hosts in the house today. We have Paul, which is one of my regular smoking buddies down at the Leaf. You know, Bryant's out. He had knee surgery, and we're waiting for him to be able to come back. His doctor said he wasn't supposed to be smoking cigars. I say get a new doctor.
I'm with you on that one, Rob.
So, hey, Paul, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Rob. Thanks for having me over.
Oh, man, we appreciate you filling in while Bryant's unavailable. And just so everybody knows, tell us what you're smoking today.
I'm smoking an Aj Fernandez Bella Arturis.
Good smoke.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Very good smoke. And I'm smoking an Aj Fernandez New World. I mean, it's a box press torpedo. Great freaking smoke.
I smoke them by the box.
I know, right? So, anyway, we're both drinking some Springbank Scotch. It's 10 years old. And here's the thing about Springbank that I love is it has no computers, no machines. It's all done by hand the old-fashioned way. And they're the last Scotch that still does it that way. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I just know their stuff is good.
Oh, it is good. It's so freaking smooth. And, you know, to me, it's like it has a little bit of peat to it on the finish, but it's not overpowering. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Paul.
Sorry I was drinking scotch.
So anyway, we're drinking some Springbank Scotch. If you haven't tried it, it's actually pretty affordable too. I think the 10-year is somewhere in the $60 range, and I think it's a great Scotch at that price.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, hey guys, if you haven't lit up a cigar yet, you're probably going to want to light one up. This is going to be a big show. We have El Gaupo, which is the rep for Aj Fernandez. And I met him in Richardson, Texas last week at the Renegade Lounge, and we hung out and smoked cigars. Super nice guy. And the funny thing is, his name is Hector. But before I went down there for the interview, his boss said, hey, his nickname is El Gaupo. So he didn't know that I knew that.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So, hey, let's talk about McAuliffe right quick. They're our sponsor, and let me tell you guys, you know, their line is $4 to $42. So for every budget, you can get a cigar and a quality, handmade, premium cigar. And let me tell you this, they test every cigar to make sure that the draw is where it should be. They have a machine they hook it up to before they put the cap on, and they test every draw. And, I mean, you know me, and I know you're the same way, Paul. Nothing pisses you off more to light up a cigar and you can't get a draw.
Man, if a cigar doesn't draw, I get mad.
Oh,
I get
dude,
mad.
You know what? It pisses me off because I'm like, you know what? I just spent $10 on a cigar and I'm throwing it away.
Exactly.
Because
it's
I'm
throwing money away.
Yeah, because I'm not going to mess with it. I hate cigars that are plugged.
Me too.
And so anyway, speaking of that, last week on the show, I talked about H. Upman. I don't know if you've had the cigar, but it's called Herman's Bat.
I haven't had that.
Now, did you know the H in H. Upman is for Herman?
No.
That's
I didn't know
that's
that.
the founder's name is Herman.
Okay.
So H. Upman. But anyway, I posted a cigar on Instagram, and it was H. Upman, the Herman's Batch, and I hadn't smoked it yet, but then I went to go smoke it after I took a picture and uploaded it to Instagram, and someone sent me a message like, hey, man, how was that Herman's Batch? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't get to smoke it. It was plugged.
Ooh.
And I posted that online.
Right.
So then H. Upman contacted me and said, hey, man, we're really sorry about your experience. What's your address? We're going to send you something. And I was like, I didn't expect that.
Right.
Because we all know that happens from time to time.
It does happen from time to time.
I mean, as long as it's not happening every time, I'll give you a second chance. But anyway, they sent me a really nice H. Upman travel humidor, 3 cigars, and an H. Upman lighter.
Nice.
Dude, I was like, that's customer service knocking it out of the park.
That's pretty darn impressive.
I was impressed. Now, I haven't smoked any of the cigars they sent me yet, but, I'm hoping that they're good.
Hoping they're good.
Right.
Maybe they put them on that machine and tested them first.
I hope so. But anyway, I'm an ambassador for McAuliffe. Are you an ambassador?
I am an ambassador.
Do you know your number?
Oh, man. I don't know it offhand. And I don't have my coin in my pocket.
Oh, well, I'm 298.
I want to say I'm 246.
Are you really?
I think my number's below yours. I don't know how that happens, but
Dude.
because I know you got your coin before I did.
That is awful.
I think I'm 246.
Wow. Bryant's 165.
How did he pull that one off?
I have no idea. But, you don't have any idea how many people give me crap about Bryant being lower than me. And now I'm finding out that you're lower than me.
Who knows? Maybe it's a upscale, not a downscale.
Well, you know what I'm starting to figure out here is both you and Bryant are older than me.
Oh,
maybe they show favoritism for the old folks.
Well, us old folks, we need a little helping hand from time to time.
Right. So anyway, guys, let's get to this week's Pick 6. I'm going to go first. I had an interesting week because I was out of town. I was in Fort Worth all week, and I got to go by a couple of shops that I don't normally get the opportunity to go to. And so actually, I'm going to throw in an extra. Instead of doing my 3, I'm going to do 4 because I was at the Renegade Lounge. And Brendan Hayes is the owner there, and he goes down to the Dominican Republic all the time. He's got some really good relationships down there. And he actually has a line of cigars that he has been coming up with, and it's to honor the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So the cigar that I got to smoke was the Hendrix. So it's a cigar after Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, wow.
Dude, and it's like a 6. I want to say it was like a 6.5, maybe 6 3/4 by 46 ring gauge. Nice freaking smoke, man. Nice. It was a medium smoke, little bit of spice, but a lot of like leather earth tones.
Yeah, sounds groovy, man.
Yeah, it was really good. They also have a Cobain, which, if I was naming cigars, I wouldn't go Cobain, but that's because I'm old.
Right.
The owner of that shop is like probably 35.
Oh, okay.
So Cobain was right there.
Was right in the.
But me, you know what my theory on Cobain is, right?
No, I don't. Tell me.
Cobain ruined rock and roll.
Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, you look at rock and roll up until the grunge movement, which Cobain started.
Right.
You had a simple format. You had a verse, a chorus, a verse, a guitar solo, a verse, a chorus. You're done. Whenever the grunge movement came in, there was no more guitar solo.
Right.
And that ruined rock and roll, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Because, all the great bands that I love all did the guitar solo, and some of the great bands did a bass solo, a drum solo, even a keyboard solo.
Right.
So when you got into grunge, it was not about any one particular person in the band.
Right.
So
gotcha.
Screw Cobain.
Well, I think he screwed himself.
Real true.
I mean,
true,
come on.
True. So anyway, this week I've got the Hendrix in my list, and then I went by Michael's in Keller, Texas, and I got to try a Davidoff Nicaragua.
Ooh.
And let me tell you, man, it was a $20 stick. Maybe $22. I don't quite remember. But anyway, I don't usually spend that kind of money on cigars. I usually in the $10
no, you buy them in bulk. So,
Right.
you spend more money. You just, it's
more
just broke
cigars.
down with more cigars. Yeah.
So anyway, I lit the cigar up, and it was a Bellicoso. It was like a really dark, toothy wrapper, really nice looking stick. And I fired it up. And immediately I was just pissed off.
Ooh.
You know why?
Why?
Because there was no draw.
Ooh. Oh, no.
You know what I mean? You spend that kind of money.
$22
yeah, and you're
no
like,
draw?
Now I'm pissed. But normally, if it has a bad draw, I just throw it away.
Right.
But when you spend $22 on a cigar,
you go
you're
and
like,
say, hey, man, this cigar doesn't draw.
I'm like, I'm going to smoke it anyway.
Right.
So I get about maybe an inch in, and it just opens up.
Okay.
So now it's like, holy crap, this is a good cigar. So I don't know what was up with the first inch, but I'm glad I stick with it because
Right.
it turned into a beautiful smoke.
Well, now, I've had that problem on a few cigars before, and I will let it set, and whatever that hard point is in there that's blocking it burns up, and then the rest of the cigar is a good smoke. The real problem is when the hard knot is up near the tip.
Shoulder,
because there ain't nothing you could do.
Yeah.
And even if you skew it, it just doesn't, it ruins the smoke.
You know, I'm not a big fan of skewing them. I've skewed a lot of cigars in my time, trust me. But you know what? I don't want to skew it. I just want it to smoke.
Me too. I mean, that's my deal.
And you know, here's the problem with skewing a cigar is sometimes it's rolled so tight that when you skew it, it just rips down the middle.
Right, it just tunnels right up the center.
And it doesn't fix the problem.
No, it actually accelerates the problem.
Right, and I've had it to where you fix the skew in there, and it actually rips the outside wrapper because it can't take... Right, it's so tight that just that much putting inside the cigar busted open, and it's like, well, now it's completely ruined. And so, you know, 95% of the time when there's a tight draw, I just throw it away.
Yeah, me too.
Because life's too short.
It is too short.
Smoke a good cigar.
And I can afford another cigar.
Exactly. I'm not 19.
No, I'm not.
Digging change out of
I'm
my...
not still eating ramen noodles.
Hey, I'm not digging change out of my ashtray. Hey, we've all been there.
Been there.
Yeah, so anyway, number 3 for this week for me is the McAuliffe Experiencia. And now, have you had one of those, Paul?
I've smoked so many McAuliffes, I may have. I just don't know.
That's the really nice dark wrapper cigar with a red band.
Oh, yeah. I've had that one.
That's a great cigar. That's in the front case at the Leaf.
Yes.
Yeah, good smoke.
Good smoke.
And I tell you what, I hadn't had one of those in probably about a 2-month period. And Casey had one, and I was like, oh, I almost forgot about that stick. I got to get one of those. Because, you know, the Medallia is my go-to.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's a good smoke.
Great smoke.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had one of those, and then the last cigar on my list was I was up at Michael's again. I went up there 2 days in a row, and I was in the humidor, and this really nice guy comes in and is like, hey, is there anything I can do to help you? And I was like, I haven't seen you up here before. Are you new or you work here? And he was like, oh, I'm the asylum rep. And I was like, oh,
okay.
Cool. Well, where's the asylums at? So I went over and looked at them. Well, all the asylums on the shelf were like, I want to say 6x60, 7x70, 8x80.
Wow.
And you know that's not my wheelhouse.
Right, yeah.
But they did have one cigar, the Asylum 13, and it was a 52 by 6 3/4.
Okay.
So I smoked that one, and I got to say it was really good. And because, you know, I'm not really into a 7-inch cigar. You know, I find that that's just not where I like to be. I like to be at a 6 or shorter.
Well, what I find with your larger cigars is they don't have the same flavor as your smaller of the same line.
Right. You don't get the quality to me.
Right.
But this was a really good cigar. I was really impressed. And I didn't know this. So I want to say, I don't remember the last name, and I apologize for that. But the owner of Asylum, his name is Eric, and he was the former owner of Camacho.
Oh.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Asylum line is made by the guy who owned Camacho before he sold it to Davidoff.
Okay.
And what I didn't know, and the rep told me this, was when they sold Camacho to Davidoff, they sold them name only.
Ooh,
they didn't sell them tobacco.
Okay, they did not sell them the actual tobacco.
Right.
No wonder Camacho went downhill.
Right.
Oh,
and
sorry guys, but they did.
You know,
I mean,
I smoked a lot of Camachos over the last 6 months, and I got to say, I have found a few that I really like. I really enjoy their Connecticut. But that being said, the cigar that disappointed me the most was the Triple Maduro. Did you smoke one of those?
I have smoked one, yeah.
What'd you think about that?
It's not mine. I won't be smoking anymore. Yeah,
right.
There's too much other good stuff to smoke.
Yeah, and, you know, whenever Jay got them down at the Leaf, I went in and it was like, oh, the Triple Maduro's here. I can't wait to smoke it. And I lit it up, and it literally, after like 10 minutes, looked like someone had stuck one of those cigar exploding bombs in the end. It just completely started disintegrating. Yeah. It was horrible, man. Yeah. So anyway, Eric, the owner of Asylum, also does 2 other lines, and I forgive me, I don't remember the name of the other one, but the third one was the CLE line. And I don't know if you know this, but his father is Justo, which is the owner of the Aladino line.
Oh, see, didn't know that either.
And their farms and factories butt up to each other.
Oh, wow.
So one's doing the Asylum and CLE, and the other one is doing the Aladino line. Which, have you had the Aladinos?
I have had those.
Very good
Very
smokes.
good smokes.
Very
Yes,
good smokes.
yes.
So anyway, that wraps up my pick 3 or 4, depending on who's keeping count.
Right.
Anyway, what have you smoked this week that you put on your top 3?
Well, I had one of my go-tos. I had a 1926 Padron Maduro number 1.
Oh, nice.
That was on my anniversary, me and my wife's anniversary, and it was a nice little smoke. Unfortunately, we had to go to dinner, and I did not get to finish it, which killed me because one thing about a Padron, as you know, never draw a problem.
No, never.
And you can smoke it literally to a nub.
And
it killed me to have to put that down, but it was my anniversary, so
you know what?
Yeah, wives always trump cigars.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, that is true. And I'll say this about a Padron. I don't know how many I've smoked, but let's just probably guesstimate about 40, maybe 50.
No, I'm way ahead of you.
Yeah, well, I'm a budget guy.
Well, I'm a budget guy when I'm not a budget guy.
But saying that, I'm going to say 50 cigars. I've never had a construction problem.
Oh, me either. Never.
And nobody can claim that they have that unique flavor profile. When you smoke a Padron, you know it's a Padron.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Love them.
So what's your number 2?
Okay, I also smoked a Nimish Thunder, which is by Rocky Patel, which I understand Nimish is Rocky Patel's brother.
Well, Nish is the brother, right. Yeah, I heard that he had a line of cigars. I've never had one.
Well, I brought you one today.
And I'm excited to smoke it.
It's not an expensive cigar. It's $6.15.
And I love a good budget cigar.
And so I think you'll enjoy it. Enjoy it. It's a medium body. It's nothing too powerful.
I'm really in the medium profiles right now. I don't want something that's going to put my dick in the dirt. And because what I found out is over the years when I was smoking full-blown bodied cigars every day, all day, is it completely shot my palate.
Oh, absolutely. So, well, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I've cut back on the strong because, as you know, I'm a big Maduro smoker,
right?
And I've actually cut back quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I bounce back and forth now, and it works for me. But I think you're really going to enjoy that cigar. I mean, it's nice, but you might even add it to your budget list.
You know what? After I smoke it, I'll make that determination.
Right on. And then the third thing I smoked this week, matter of fact, smoked it last night, was the Gurkha Ghost. Now, let me state for the record, I am not a Gurkha fan. I've smoked a lot of Gurkhas.
Because when you start out with the name Gurkha, I already raised one eyebrow.
Well, I know. I am not a fan of Gurkha, but the Ghost is one of their millions of cigars, because I swear they got a million different cigars.
Right.
It's like the only cigar I will smoke of theirs right now.
Bet.
There may be another one out there. I don't know. I've tried a bunch of them. I bought one of those big 200 pack of Gurkhas one time. That was a mistake. I think there was only 4 out of that 200
that was good.
That was even worth smoking.
Well,
and unfortunately I didn't save the band, so I don't even know what they were. But I've smoked the Ghost a few times, and I had one last night, and it was a good smoke.
Well, up in Lubbock, I go to Good Karma sometimes. I also go to Smoker's Haven, but Good Karma actually carries a line of Gurkha, and I've smoked the Ghost before, and I gotta say it was pretty good stick.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, and it was free last night, so I was gonna smoke it anyway.
Well, hey, I never turn down a free smoke.
Absolutely.
So anyway, guys, that is our pick 6, I guess pick 7 this week. And next, we have El Gaupo from Aj Fernandez, so you're not going to want to miss that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey guys, we have a special guest with us. I'm over here at the Renegade Lounge in Richardson, Texas. I'm getting ready to light up one of my favorite cigars from last year. You remember, I believe it made top 3 of my list in 2019. It's the Viva La Vida from Artisanal Tobacco, which was blended by Aj Fernandez. Anyway, we have a special guest with us today. We have El Gaupo. You didn't know I knew that, did you?
No, I didn't.
I only know him as Hector, but someone told me that he goes by El Gaupo. Is that true?
They only tell me that at the office. It's not really something to advertise, but they call me that at the office. I don't know why.
I got you.
But they do.
So tell me about how you got the name El Gaupo.
Well, it's interesting because I think it's because there's a movie made back in the 80s, and it's called The Three Amigos. Obviously, Mexican. So the bad guy is
was El Gaupo.
Yeah, he's not that great looking, but they call him El Guapo to build his self-esteem.
Oh.
So I think that's what it is.
So Frankie said his nickname is El Gaupo.
Yeah. They call me that.
So anyway, guys, Hector here is a representative of Aj Fernandez Cigars. You guys know that we're huge fans of AJ's work, so we wanted to get him on as soon as we found out he was available. And he agreed to come over to the Renegade Lounge with us, hang out, smoke cigars, and he brought me a Viva La Vida.
Correct.
So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
And have you smoked very many of these?
Yes, a lot of them.
Great stick.
It's a great stick. I love every single size of them. Right now I'm gonna smoke a Robusto, but every single size it's a perfect.
Yeah,
it's
for
perfect.
me, the Robusto is the perfect size.
Yes.
That's just my favorite size of stick almost in everything. If I'm not doing a Robusto, I like the Corona Extra or Gordo.
Correct.
Because I like anything between a 46 and a 52. It's right in that area, man, I think those make the best cigars.
It is.
So I was talking to you before we got started on the show, and you've been with AJ now for about 2.5 months?
Since November.
And today is February, so really about 4 months.
Correct, yes.
Okay, so how do you like it so far?
It's great. Smoking cigars is a passion of mine, and when you start living day to day your passion, and connecting with people about cigars, about experiences, I think it's the best job in the world.
Well, that's awesome, man. So you were doing, before you actually got started to repping, you used to own a marketing company.
Correct.
You sold that. Lately, you've been doing social media marketing.
Correct.
And so I think that's awesome that they reached out to you and got you to come on board with AJ, because the cigar industry as a whole is really evolving into the social media. And I've seen your social media page. Tell everybody what the name of your social media page is.
Well, my AJ one is Hector_AJF. That's
Gotcha.
my social media for Aj Fernandez. And so basically it's just representing the lifestyle, smoking the cigars. I like to play cigars with my cutters, with my carriers, and it's just a lifestyle, because when you go, actually you're prepping to go to a lounge, you have to have your carrier. You put your cigars in there, your humidity pack, your lighter. Make sure you have enough butane, your cutter. And so I don't know anyone who smokes cigars who has like one cutter or one
Right.
lighter. You have, for some reason, 20 of them.
It's collections.
And it's like one comes out where it has like the camo, and you're like, oh my god, I need to get that camo. And it's like you have 10 of them.
Right.
But it's
But I don't have
obsession.
that one.
But I don't have that one, and it's the most expensive one at the time.
Well, I have a ton of lighters, and I've never used now, who makes this?
That is made by Porsche Design.
Okay, so
And
the car company designer.
Yeah.
So I got to say, man, when I first saw this, I was like, man, that's probably not a very good lighter. This is a nice flame. Very, very elegant. It's like, man, that's probably about maybe a quarter of an inch thick, maybe a little bit longer, or Yeah, about a quarter of an inch. But man, the flame that comes out is super nice.
Yeah.
You're like, quit using all my fluid.
And it's carbon, so it's faster.
Oh, that's carbon. Nice.
Everything carbon.
Well, dude, it
faster.
lights every time, so that already beats the hell out of all the lighters I have.
And it has that lever, that it's just convenient for your finger. So, you're not twisting your finger on the side. You're actually, it's just natural movement. And then you can tilt it, to your preference of lighting. So it makes it
easy to do the 45-degree angle.
Correct.
I like that, man.
Correct.
I'll put that back over there so I don't take it.
Yeah. I have a Bluetooth on it, so it tells me when
nice.
when it's leaving my
your vicinity.
Yes, exactly.
If you're around me, you're gonna want to have that on.
Yeah, put that chain. Like back in the old days from the banks, you have a pen with a chain,
right? So
people don't take it. I might as well put a chain on this thing.
That's great, man. So going from marketing to being a cigar rep, has that been a big challenge, or is it pretty much go hand in hand?
Well, if you think about it, marketing it's in a way, you're showing an audience a product.
Right.
You're saying, look, this is the product, this is what you want to have it. So in a way, repping is the same deal.
Yeah, I think it's hand in hand.
Yeah. So to me, it wasn't that big of a transition. Plus, I love smoking cigars, and I love talking to people. So when I'm sitting down or am I going to a lounge,
you're working whenever, even if you don't consider yourself working.
Exactly. So some people are like, you're working and you're smoking cigars, and I'm like, yeah, it's you sit down with a lounge owner or with anybody at the lounge. Sometimes I'm not working, and I take out my AJ cigars and I'm smoking it, and people are like, "Whoa, what is that? I never seen that." And then you talk about it, and they see your passion. You can give them some details about the cigar, the tones, and what you get out of it. And
now, let me ask you this: how long have you been smoking cigars?
Well, I started smoking cigars when I was about 19 years old.
Oh, okay.
And so growing up,
and you're about 21 now, right?
I'm 43. I'm 43 years old. Even sometimes people have a hard time. Because I don't look 43, but people are like, really? You're 43? You look younger. So I started smoking cigars when I was about 19. My first cigars were Cuban cigars.
Nice.
Because I was growing up part of time in Mexico. Oh, okay. So that was kind of, in Mexico, you have Cuban cigars at your reach at all times.
I see.
So, you're kind of spoiled. So to me, smoking a Romeo y Julieta was like I'll just go to the store and get a Romeo y Julieta or a Monte Cristo.
And notice that he said Romeo Julieta and not Julieta.
Yes. Exactly.
I hear that all the time. I'm like, it's not Shakespeare. It's a cigar.
Exactly.
So how is it to work for AJ? Now, did you know AJ's work before you started talking with them?
I did.
Okay.
I actually smoked several cigars, which at the time, I was smoking New World, the Oscuro, which is, the flagship now that I know of this company. And so that was one of the best cigars I smoked. And then I kind of went on the lines of all the rest of the cigars. But to me, the New World, Oscuro, was the one that I enjoyed. And that was my introduction to the brand.
I got you. Well, I probably go back to the New Worlds, and I tell you one that I just recently started smoking was the Enclave, and I'm loving that one. And then also, I forget to tell people all the time about the Payback, and how much is that cigar? It's like $4.50.
Yes,
it's a great bargain stick. I mean, I've been really shocked at what a quality stick that is. And so, and then also, you can't even. I can't even imagine how many other cigar companies have hired AJ to blend for them.
Yeah, there's a lot. We have a lot of different collaborations. And
the last one I was here at the Renegade, they actually had a Caldwell cigar blended with AJ, and I was like, I didn't even know they worked together.
Actually, I never had that cigar.
It's great.
It's sold out pretty much everywhere.
The last time I came here, they had them. They don't have them anymore.
Exactly. So if you go and see one,
grab it.
Or
grab 4 or 5.
Or like a box.
Right.
Because it's delicious. For what I read,
It's fantastic. I didn't even know that they did a collaboration like that. Who else did I have? Oh, I had an Upman not long ago that had which one is that? I can't remember which one that was, but it was a collaboration with AJ.
There's several out there.
Yeah,
and pretty much they're all. Every time somebody knows that I work with AJ or they see me with my shirt, they're like, "Hey, I love your cigars." And,
yes.
And I love your collaborations. So it's like, great. And then I sit down with them and I'm having a conversation with a total stranger for like 2 hours. And at the end, they know about my pets. I know about their pets, about their kids, where they go to school. And it's like, wow, amazing. I just met this guy and we just had a conversation and, about cigars and life and you get to learn. And I guess that's what you take out of this amazing community of cigars, with the people that you meet. And that's the one thing that some people don't understand, why sometimes you are so passionate about cigars. Because the people, like right now, I'm sitting with you and I never met you. And, it's like I'm having a great time. There's a lot of great people here at the lounge. Everybody's smoking a cigar. They're having a good time. And it's an amazing time.
And, I think that's one of the reasons why the cigar community has grown so much over the last decade is because people, especially in a day and age where everything's digital, they find a place where they can go and get away from that and actually enjoy conversations.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's not about reading text while you're sitting here smoking a cigar.
Exactly. So my thing is when I go to a cigar lounge and I'm sitting there, I usually have, I put my phone on silent.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm off, because I want to enjoy my cigar and I want to enjoy other people's conversations. And I think, like you said, now in this new age, there's less and less of that. It's more, you go to a coffee shop. Back when I was growing up, you go to a coffee shop and it was for talking.
Yeah, it was a conversation.
Yeah, you were chatting. And
now you go to Starbucks and everybody's plugged in.
And their laptop with their headphones. And
right.
You can even ask to sit on that table because they look at you funny. Like, why you want to sit here? I'm like, because there's no room and you have a table for like 10.
Right.
And it's only you? Like, come on.
So, in case people aren't familiar with the AJ line, can we cover the AJ line?
Yes.
Is that putting you on the spot?
A little bit, but that's okay.
All right.
So our flagship, cigar is the New World, and so we have the Oscuro, which is the darker cigar, which is my favorite. We have a Cameroon that we're sitting across from one right now, and then we have our Habano, and so those the New Worlds are the most, I guess where everybody knows about, the New Worlds. And then we have the Enclave, which you tried, and it was great.
Oh, very
It's
nice.
great. We have some there called the Last Calls, and those are smaller cigars, which are perfect. So when you're gonna go out, you're gonna have a small cigar. You don't have a lot of time. You're at a party, nobody smokes cigars, and you want to take one of those.
If you're at a party and they're not smoking cigars, you're at the wrong party.
But sometimes you have to go with the wife.
I know. I'm just breaking your balls.
The wife's friends don't smoke cigars.
Right.
They look at you funny. They're like, "Oh my God, there comes a guy with the cigars all
right.
the time."
They think we're Antichrist.
Exactly. So you come with those. We have an Habano and a Maduro, excellent cigars. We also have our Bellas Artes, which the Maduro is my favorite.
I smoked one of those last night.
It's amazing.
While I was editing the show, that's what I smoked last night.
It made number one on Cigar Journal.
Nice.
So it's a great cigar. I'm a big Lancero guy, like extremely big. So me, the Lancero are like one.
Really?
Yeah. And I go to shops and they don't carry it. And I'm like, you need to carry this. Some people don't see the Lancero, the value, because it's a small ring gauge.
Oh.
But it's just full of flavors. The flavors are just amazing.
Yes.
I highly suggest everyone, try Lancero and see the difference, of that ratio of tones and flavors.
When you're putting that much wrapper to that much filler, you're a winner already.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's why I like the Corona Extra, and really, very rarely do I ever smoke even a Toro. I usually smoke Robustos and thinner.
Correct.
That's just me. And the funny thing is, when I started, I smoked 6x60s because I thought I was a bad dude.
Those are big cigars.
Yeah, they are.
I feel funny smoking them in public. If I want to smoke one at home, I'll be like at home in a corner by myself. Like kind of like putting. It's just to me, it's just a funny size. But to me,
hey, at the home shop, they have a lunatic, which is an 8x80.
I seen it,
and someone was like, "Hey, Rob, are you going to try one of those?" And I was like, "There's no way I'm sticking that in my mouth." Not doing it.
Yeah, that's not my size, but to each its own, right?
Right. And you know what? I know a guy that comes by the shop and gets 3 of those a week.
Wow.
And I'm just like,
when do you find the time to smoke one of those?
I mean, that's at least a 2.5 hour smoke.
Yeah.
So. And you know what? I don't want to smoke the same cigar for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, you want some, some
I like
changes.
To change it up.
Yeah. So and then we have our Diaz de Gloria. That's it was introduced last year. It's an amazing stick. It's everything Nicaraguan.
Now, did you say that was just introduced last year?
Yeah,
great stick.
It's a great stick. So I love that stick. It's my favorite in the morning.
Okay.
Everybody smokes different at different times. But to me, that is like the opener for the day. You wake up, grab, make some coffee.
Now, I've smoked some of those, but I haven't had it first thing in the morning. I'm going to put that on my list.
It's kind of like, when you're going to go to, let's say, to battle, right? And you want to put your armor and you get in that prep, like that your warrior phase, and you're going to go out there. Same thing with us. We go out there to rep the company, and and so you want to smoke something that just kicks your butt and it makes you go outside and be happy, because you smoke that and you're like, wow, this is my everyday thing,
Now, are you a coffee drinker?
I am.
So pairing it with coffee first thing in the morning,
it's
perfect.
Perfect.
Because I usually, before I even get my day going, I sit down with a cigar. I actually brew a whole pot of coffee, and I'll drink a whole pot of coffee before I leave. And so I'm gonna pull up that stick. And that's the, how do you say that? Gloria?
Diaz de Gloria.
Diaz de Gloria.
Like the glory
And
days.
what a beautiful box.
It
Dude,
is.
Dude, those boxes?
Beautiful.
Amazing.
It has like if you've seen one, it has like a slight
curvature to it.
Top.
Yes.
So when you have a few boxes in your humidor, they're kind of tricky.
Yeah.
To get in there, but if you might put some humidity packs between them to make it level.
I've got that box sitting on top of another box.
Oh, so yeah.
So it works.
I think AJ, when they were doing that, he knew, and so it was made to be on top of everything.
Nice.
I like to think.
That would not surprise me at all.
Be like, I'm going to design a box that's on top of everything.
Now let me ask you a question. Do you know how old AJ is?
I don't.
How old do you think AJ is?
I think he's like 40 something.
He's 40.
Wow.
40.
Yeah.
We talked about him last night on the show, or actually, I think it was Saturday night, and it was like, he didn't spend his 15 to 25 year span of partying and chasing girls. He was living the tobacco industry life his whole life.
I know.
How else could you be a master blender at his young age?
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
Like, isn't that crazy that if you think about it, you go back to your 20s, right? And you're like, wow, I was doing this. And
I was dumb.
And was drinking and hangovers. Yeah. And this guy is like a master, right, at his craft.
He has a vision.
And he's so dedicated that he's coming up with all these amazing cigars, and he's 40.
Right,
man. I feel bad.
And he's been doing it for a long time.
Exactly.
That's what we were saying. I'm 50, and it's like, man, if I would have focused like AJ, I could have been somebody.
You could have the biggest podcast,
right? So
you would have invented the podcast.
Yeah.
Before everybody knew what was it.
So anyway, super impressed with AJ's work. I mean, when Billy from Artisanal Tobacco is the one who told me, he was 39 at the time, and he had just turned 40, and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And what a great partnership between Artisanal Tobacco and AJ.
Correct.
I mean, that cigar, the Viva La Vida, has just caught on like wildfire. I mean, on the social media platform, it's everywhere. Exactly.
So imagine this, if you are like Billy, for your view, for your listeners, they own, him and his brother own Viva La Vida, the brand. And so AJ makes the cigar, and we do the distribution on it. So imagine the foresight to have your baby, which is your cigar, give it to someone to make it like AJ, and then see it develop, right? And so these guys they come from a retail background, and they wanted to have that retail experience with your cigar. So this cigar, Viva La Vida, it's only available in brick and mortar stores,
which I love.
Nothing available online. So you can, if you want it, you have to find who carries it, and then you have to either drive or call him and do something to get it, right? But there's not available online, and because of that, it's a limitation. If you can, it's a little limitation because it's not available online. But still, people everywhere you see on social media, and they have it. How they get it, I have no idea. And they just have it, and they smoke it, and they enjoy it.
Well, here's what I think is going on. You see someone who posts a picture of it, you get a hold of that guy, and you're like, hey, go by your shop and buy me a box.
Can you send me some?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because these cigars, at first, it was like you saw like the main cigar smokers on social media smoking them, and then it started filtering down and down and down, and then everybody was smoking them, and then it turns into everybody wants one.
Correct.
And the thing about it is that point of marketing does a great job, but it doesn't do anything without a great cigar. And that's obviously where they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, and so these guys are great, right? They know what they want. They know what they're looking for. So they chose, AJ, which, like you said, he's a master. And the combination it's a great combination. I'm smoking this right now, the Viva Robusto, and it's just amazing. It's an amazing cigar. It goes well with everything. You're having coffee. I don't have a mug, so I didn't, I'm not drinking coffee.
I brought you one. I'll go get it out afterwards. Sorry about that.
That's all right. So I'll get some coffee later. And it just goes well with everything. And see, that's, the reason I started, working with AJ is that, obviously I was presented with the opportunity and I smoked the cigars, but if these cigars were not doing it for me,
you wouldn't be.
I wouldn't be here
them.
because I'm a firm believer that you cannot go out in the world and try to sell something that is bad.
No,
or you don't,
I agree.
Or you don't
100%.
believe in it. Right?
Yeah.
It's not. That doesn't happen. You don't. When you're talking to someone and they hear your conviction and your attitude,
it's real.
It's
and
real.
If it's not real, it's easy to see that it's not real. Or at least for me, I can't pretend to like something.
Correct. So when people ask me, do you sell cigars? Yes and no. I do sell cigars to stores.
Right.
But I mostly sell an experience.
Right.
So it's an experience that you buy, you sit down at your house, at your favorite lounge, wherever you want, and then you light it. And most of the time when you're smoking this cigar, you're thinking about what you're going to do with your future. If you have a problem, how you're going to fix it. So it's kind of like therapeutic in a way.
I think it's the best therapy on the planet.
Yeah.
I have multiple sessions of therapy all day.
Exactly. and it's like budget, because you go to a therapist and it's a couple $100, and here you're smoking a cigar, you're reflecting.
Right.
You're pondering about on anything. And it's just a perfect way of spending time. And it's like I call it like me time. Right. And then you want to experience with other people, then you go to the lounge and you sit with strangers and you talk about whatever.
Right.
The TV, the politics, whatever you want to talk about, even cigars. And it's just an amazing experience.
We had to take a quick break there. We got to puff on these cigars.
Yeah, they're going to go out.
So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm so thankful you brought me a Viva La Vida. I haven't had one in like probably 3 or 4 months. And so I always look forward to the next one. In fact, we talked about that on the show last night. And we didn't intentionally dog out Cigar Aficionado's #1 choice of this last year, which was the Aging Room Nicaragua. Mm-hmm. It's not that we're dogging it. It's just that when you think of the best cigar of the year, it's that to me, that stick is not a stick that whenever I'm smoking it, I don't want it to stop.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like the Viva La Vida, when you're smoking this one, when you start getting into that third, you start getting sad.
You're like, no.
Yes. And then when it's time to go out, you're already thinking, when am I going to get another one?
Exactly.
And to me, if you're going to be #1 cigar of the year, you should be at least that good.
Exactly. So, I have no idea how they do their ratings and how they select the number one cigar.
It's whoever pays the most money. No, I'm just kidding you.
I have no idea, but it is true. I think that the cigar, to be the number one, you should be able to have that cigar and kind of be sad when you're finishing that cigar.
Now, have you smoked that one? The Aging Room Nicaragua?
No, I haven't.
I smoked it for the first time about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It was good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have a coffee, but it was a one-trick pony. And what I mean by that, it was like one solid flavor just about all the way through.
Correct.
And so, I mean, if I'm looking at Cigar of the Year, and that's why Viva La Vida made my top 3 last year, because it's what I like to call the roller coaster profile.
Yes.
It's up and down. It's all over the place.
Yes.
And you're smoking something that's complex.
Yeah.
And I think that you find that in a lot of AJ blends.
Yes, you do, definitely. And the cool thing is that, they burn at they burn perfect. The ash is perfect. I mean, I just love how everything is about these cigars, how the construction, everything is just amazing. You don't have to worry about it. You light it up and you just, as long as you're puffing it, it's burning.
I'm going to have to take a picture before I get too much into this, do you know the story behind the artwork?
I don't.
Oh, man, you're missing out.
I don't.
So, Billy and his brother owned a cigar lounge. And one of the people that worked at the cigar lounge up at the counter was an artist. And so she started doing work and hanging it on the walls, and people would come in the shop and buy her paintings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Billy actually had her do a mural which took up the entire wall, and it was of the shop. So people who were in the shop were on the wall.
Wow.
It was amazing. And so whenever this cigar came out, he had her do the artwork for the band.
Ah, I see.
So there's that relationship. And I mean, and that's what I love about the Viva La Vida is that it's completely, everything has a purpose.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And I don't think that you see that much thought go into a lot of cigars, but Billy nothing has been left out.
Yeah.
Everything has a reason on this cigar.
And these guys are great. They have a vision, and they just said, it's a gamble. It's a gamble to produce a cigar, and to invest your money and time in a cigar. You're gambling. But
especially when he left his bread and butter. You know what I mean? He had a great lounge going.
Correct.
And his story is amazing. They started out with a convenience store, and they sold cigarettes. And one of his customers came in and was like, man, I quit smoking cigarettes. I started smoking cigars. If you want me to keep coming here, you got to get some cigars. So they went from a convenience store or a grocery store style business to a cigar lounge and turned it into one of the best cigar lounges in the New York area. I mean, hats off to those guys. And they are some of the most humble, hardworking guys I've ever met.
Correct. Yeah. Every time I talk to them, it's a pleasure to talk to them. And, Billy's just a great guy. I talk to him, and he has so much confidence in us, getting this cigar to everyone.
Yeah.
That every time you talk to him, it's just, he's so excited. Any news is good news,
Right.
So you call him up and he's like, oh, great, Hector. Great this to hear. And then he sees it on social media, and he's just loving it. He's reposting and tagging and putting it on his.
And he's one of those
stories.
guys. Does he ever sleep?
I don't think so. I think he called me once. I think it was like my time, Texas time. It was like 12 or something.
And you're like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning there.
He called. He's like, hey, Hector. He texted me he's like, hey, are you up? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I sleep till like 2 or 3 in the morning. And so he called me, and then we had a chat and everything. And it was just like, I was like thinking the same thing. I was like, did you ever go to sleep?
Right.
You're on social media actively
all the time.
You're always responding to people's comments, and man,
and he's a genuinely great guy.
He's a great guy.
And what I mean by that, maybe I won't talk to him for like 2 months, and he sends me a message out of the clear blue. Hey man, listen to the show. I just want to let you know it sounds great. Everything going all right. You need anything from me? You know what I mean? Just out of the clear. And so, man, I'm a huge fan of him, his brother, their product line, and the fact that he went with you guys to blend his cigar, and now y'all work in conjunction on distribution. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then so like I said, we have great cigars. So adding the Viva to our line is just amazing. Because now we have our boutique, which is the
right,
Viva,
yeah.
which is, a lot of people only go boutique, which is fine.
Sure.
And then we have our flagship, which are New World.
You know what's funny though is it's like I'm a boutique guy. I love boutique cigars. And I know that Aj Fernandez is big time, not boutique.
Correct.
But his line is like smoking boutique cigars because they have that level of quality. And so I don't consider AJ like the national cigar chain. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I consider it more of someone who takes a lot of care and concern on their craftsmanship. And so I'm not going to name off the big time cigars that I don't smoke because it's like, they no longer care about the craftsmanship of their cigars. They just care about selling.
Correct.
AJ's not like that. And that's why, even though he's nationally a cigar maker, I still consider him like a boutique because he takes so much care and preparation to make the best cigars out there.
Yeah, if you go in YouTube and look for AJ's videos and all that, even if you follow him on Instagram, he's really good at putting stories or pictures, and he's in the farm.
Yeah,
like he's in the farm.
Yeah,
like he's there.
All the pictures I see, he's on the farm.
Yeah, so he's in the farm. Checking everything, how's everything, the processes, how's everything is doing, and smoking, the fresh roll cigars. And you think about those things, and it's like, wow, this guy, it's a master blender. Everybody knows him.
Right.
He has great products, and he's out there with everyone. They're farmers.
He's not sitting at the top of some suite saying, look at what I've done.
Exactly.
He's out there getting his hands dirty, doing it. And one of the biggest impacts that I saw from Aj Fernandez was, and I'm sure you've seen it, the picture of him and everybody from the factory in front of the factory.
Uh-huh.
Dude, I mean, that to me is when a guy is a good guy.
Correct.
He brings all the factory workers in to do a group shot out in front.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of guys are like, I'm the boss. I'm not hanging out with those guys.
Yeah.
That's not how AJ is. And so ever since I saw that group photo, I was like, much respect.
Yeah. And if you, I talked to a bunch of people who have done the tour, right, in Nicaragua, the factory tour. And, out of everybody that, I talked to, I'm like, what's your favorite tour? And, it's AJ's always under top 3.
Nice.
And I'm not saying that because I work for AJ. It's just because he's a genuine person, and he loves, his craft, and you can tell. So I guess when you go there as a factory tour, you can see that, you can see the passion and the level of commitment to each cigar that is being putting out there for you to enjoy. So yeah, it's a great experience. I always tell people, if you have the chance to go, take a tour, and you will love it.
Yeah, I'm definitely planning on 2021 taking a factory tour, going down there. I want to take the tour, but I also want to take my equipment and go down there, so I can actually do a couple of shows while I'm there.
That'll be great.
I think so too.
I think that'll be a great idea for your show, and just to have it there is just completes the package.
Yeah, and plus I just want to go for the experience myself.
Correct.
Hey, so let me ask you this: are you guys attending the PCA this year?
We're not.
We're not. Okay.
We're not. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the way a lot of companies are going right now.
Correct.
I guess this is the opportunity for growth within what the PCA is going to do. I know a lot of people who went to the TPE.
Correct.
Did y'all do that?
Yes.
Okay.
I personally didn't go.
Okay.
But, my boss and other people from the company.
I saw Frankie over there.
Yeah, Frankie. Oh, my God, Frankie. After this, I'm going to call him and be like, what'd you tell me they call me El Guapo?
El Guapo.
Yeah, so, yeah, they're all great. I mean, every time they call me, it's like great. It's like, when you get a call from your boss and you see the caller ID,
right,
and their pictures popping out, you're like, oh man. And it's like every time I pick, I was like, El Guapo. So they're great guys. Yeah, they were there. They were at TPE, and that's an amazing opportunity to connect.
Yeah, with your retailers.
Yeah, you go there and you talk and you connect with them, because normally if our office are in Miami. So normally there's not a lot of chance for that. So these these events like TPE, it's perfect because you get to connect with people you never don't see.
Okay. So let me ask you this, and I don't know if you know this information, but are you planning on going to the Big Smoke, which is pairing up with whiskey this year for Florida?
I don't have that information. I wouldn't know.
Well, you need to get on the horn and let Frankie know, hey, man, I need to come to Florida.
Yeah, I'd be like, when do I buy my ticket?
Right. Or when do you send me my ticket?
Yeah, I usually buy my own tickets, but, I need to have permission.
Right.
Can I buy the ticket now?
Hey, well, I got to give you hats off because I talked to you 4 days ago and was like, hey, can you meet me at the Renegade to come on the show? Well, 3 days before I reached out to you, I reached out to Frankie and said, hey, man, I'm ready to have you on the show. Come on. And he didn't get back to me. And then when I told him that I was having you on the show, he was like, perfect. Is Frankie afraid of being on the radio?
I don't know. I'm afraid. I was nervous when I was driving down here. And then actually you called me, you're like, hey, you're on your way? Because, we have a really bad weather right now.
Yeah, weather's horrible here. It's 35 degrees. It's raining like crazy.
Yeah.
So I sent him a message, said, hey, man, are you going to be able to make it? He calls me and says, I'm about 10 minutes away, which is 2 hours earlier than what we had planned. And the funny thing is, he did that because he's one of those guys that never wants to be late, which is the same as me.
Correct.
And I was 2 hours early.
Yeah, I hate being late.
Yeah, I do too.
Even going to the airport, I'm 3 hours before, and people are like, your flight's leaving in 3 hours. Yeah, I don't want to be late.
Well, what's funny is when I was coming through Fort Worth, a good friend of mine was going to be at another cigar lounge, and there was that voice in my head. It was like, man, you could swing by because you're right now going to be 2 hours early.
Correct.
But you never know how long you're going to be at a cigar lounge. You know what I mean? You could think you're just going to be there for an hour. And then it turns into right. So I was like, man, you know what? It's just a little bit too tight of a schedule. I'm going to have to head on over, but we'll make it next time. So it worked out perfect that you were 2 hours early as well.
Yeah, I was, I was doing something else, and I was at an appointment, and I look at my watch, and I'm like, oh my God, I just want to head down there because the traffic, the weather, anything can go wrong, and I'm that kind of guy that I don't like to be late, especially, you're kind enough to invite me to your podcast. I'm not going to make you wait. Plus, I have the cigars.
Hey, man, well, we appreciate you coming on because we talked last year about getting somebody from AJ on, and it didn't pan out. And then we had Billy on the show, and so that really worked out well. And so, and actually, it's coming up on the 1 year anniversary that we had Billy on the show.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to try to get him on the show again and talk about where they started and where they are now with Viva La Vida, because what a difference a year has made.
A lot.
I mean, a year ago, they hadn't even come out with the cigar yet. In fact, I kept hitting him up because he let me smoke some of the pre-release cigars. And I was like, man, when are you going to have that cigar ready? And he was like, by the end of the month. And then, I'd be bugging him. He's like, well, it's going to be in another couple of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And some of the interesting things that I learned from Billy about Aj Fernandez was that when they made the cigars, they smoked them down there, but then they brought them back and let them rest here. Correct. And smoked them to make sure that they were still the same.
Correct, yes.
Because a lot of people go down there and smoke cigars, and they're fantastic.
Yeah.
But then when they ship them over, it's like, wow, that's not the same cigar.
Well, it all depends on, if you smoke cigars, you can tell the humidity.
Right.
And when you transport cigars, it's just, there's a
lot of variables.
A lot of variables they can determine that. So, so when you get your cigars, it's always good to have them in your humidor. So yeah, you need to smoke them and see if control quality. You're controlling the quality to make sure that cigars that you smoked in Nicaragua is going to be the same when you're going to put it into the consumer's hand. So
I'm guessing since you've been with AJ for 4 weeks, you have not been to the factory yet.
I have not yet.
When are you going?
I'm planning this year to go.
Okay. I was going to say, if you don't go this year, maybe we both go at the same time next year.
That could be too.
That would be fun.
I can always go twice.
Hey, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, we want to say thank you for taking the time to come on the show.
Thank you.
And we're going to say goodbye for now, and we're going to hang out and smoke a couple of stogies and drink some coffee. So Thank you again for coming, Hector.
Thank you so much. And really thank you, for the invite, and to Brandon at Renegade for letting us use his space.
Absolutely.
It's an amazing shop. So
I tell everybody, if you're in the Dallas area, go by the Renegade Lounge. The humidor is huge.
amazing.
And it is full of great cigars. You know, you go into a lot of lounges that have bigger humidors, and what I found is a lot of them look half empty.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that?
Yes.
And I'm like, dude, you need to get some cigars in here. But when you walk into his humidor, not only is it full, he has a lot of cigars you can't find.
Correct.
And that's what's really impressive.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, thanks again for Brennan giving us the opportunity to record here at the Renegade Lounge. And anyway, we'll be returning back to the show. And coming up next is going to be the AJ giveaway.
Nice.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that interview with El Gaupo. We want to say thank you to him for coming on the show and telling us a little bit about his history and what Aj Fernandez is doing. We know that AJ does great work. I mean, I've been an AJ fan for years.
Well, you know.
I know that's your go-to.
You know that's my go-to.
I mean,
so.
You probably smoke more AJ than anybody I know.
Probably more than AJ. I'm sure he appreciates that.
I don't know about that, but I know you smoke a lot of AJ.
I do. I really do.
So anyway, let's talk a minute about the Cigar Talk podcast.com store. So we just opened up the store website. It's actually live today. It's the first day it's been open.
Awesome.
And starting out, we're offering the Cigar Talk podcast ball cap, like a trucker hat. You've seen it. You've got one because
I got one today.
If you're a guest host on the show, you automatically get one. And then the other thing that we have is the coffee mug. And what I love about the coffee mug, I don't know if you looked at it very closely, but all four of your fingers fit in the handle.
They do. And I also got one of those today.
Yes, he did. So, you know, one of the big things I wanted to do with the coffee mug was to make sure that my hand, which I'm a big guy, all four of my fingers fit in the handle. And it's a black mug, has our logo on the side, and, you know, I went in, I looked at 1,000 different mugs before I chose that one. And that was the only mug I found that all four of my fingers fit in the side.
I like it. It's very comfortable.
Oh. So anyway, guys, if you want to look at our merchandise, our Cigar Talk logo stuff, go by cigartalkpodcast.com and click on the link at the top on the menu that says store, and you can order that stuff up. We have a limited supply, so you're probably going to want to go by pretty quick because we'll probably sell out, I'm going to guess, in a week.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll restock if we see that people really want to get this stuff. You know, I had several guys hit me up for hats. And being that I'm a coffee drinker, I had to get mugs. Because,
absolutely.
You know, and I know you drink as much coffee as I do.
We could put down some coffee.
Oh, you know, my wife's like, "You're making a pot of coffee at 2 p.m?" I'm like, yeah.
Well, you know me. I actually drink coffee all the way up until I go to bed.
Me too.
I have a cup of coffee right before I go to sleep. Does not keep me awake.
I say that I usually quit drinking coffee around 7 to 8 p.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't.
you drink it like you've got a coffee mug on your bedside
I
table.
do. I actually do.
So anyway, guys, we partnered up with Aj Fernandez to bring you the AJ giveaway. And if you haven't registered, go by the website, cigartalkpodcast.com, click on the register link, and you'll register. All you got to do is give us your name, your email address. We don't ask you for all the other information like a lot of other sites do. And basically, we do a drawing every week, and whoever the winner is, all they have to do to make sure that they claim their prize is contact us by Sunday the following week by 1800. And when you send me an email, you send me an email in the link that says AJ Winner, and then send me your address, and I'll send out your cigars. So this week's lucky winner is Joey Gotti.
Joey Gotti?
Joey Gotti.
Awesome.
Sounds like a made man, huh?
Man, I'm telling you.
So I actually know who Joey Gotti is because I see him on Instagram all the time.
Okay.
Talk to him on occasion. But anyway, he is like a huge like Boston guy, which you would assume by
yeah,
that name,
I mean,
right? So anyway, congratulations, Joey. Hope you send me an email by Sunday next week by 1800 Central Time to claim your prize. And I'll get you in the mail to Aj Fernandez Cigars. So anyway, guys, before we go, I wanted to talk to you about air purification because my life has been completely changed in my shed. And if you don't know, my shed is a 14 by 12 foot shed that I had completely electrified, insulated, and sheetrocked, painted. It's basically like my personal smoke lounge. And I've tried a Honeywell air purification system. Didn't really work very well.
Yeah.
And then I went with the WIN, the WEN purification system. Didn't really work that well. And I also have an exhaust fan in the ceiling, and that does help.
It does help. Oh, yeah. Well, you know my room, I have two.
Yeah, you gotta have
exhaust.
The exhaust because that sucks in new air.
Yeah.
But the Medify air purification system has made my life so different. Let me tell you this, Paul. Night before last, me and my wife came out here to the shed. You know, my wife doesn't smoke.
Right, I know that, yeah.
So she was in here while we watched a movie, and she was like not bothered at all by the smoke. So this Medify system, which uses the only medical grade HEPA filter system, is Mrs. Jones approved.
Amen to that.
So,
well, it's now Paul approved because I've been in here without it. And now I've been in here with it.
Dude,
and it's 100 times better.
You've been in here when our eyes were burning.
Our eyes were burning. Hey, but we were still smoking,
Yeah.
So what's that say?
It's like you had to use your hand as a karate chop to get through the smoke. But you know, the thing about it is,
this thing is fantastic.
Oh.
I'm getting one for my room.
It's amazing. It really is. And I did a lot of research because, you know, they have that system, the Rabbit.
Yeah.
And I've got a friend that has one of those.
I've talked to many people because I did a lot of research on it, and it's not worth the money.
And they're super expensive.
Yeah, and it's not worth the money.
And they don't work.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind paying good money for a system that works.
Absolutely.
But I'm not paying $500
for something that doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that whole Rabbit system, I think their main selling point was it was like futuristic looking.
Well, it looks nice.
Yeah, it looks nice.
And that's what drew me to it originally. And I just went with I just got a cheap Auric air purifier in my smoke room. And from the reviews I read on the Rabbit and the people I've talked to, my system actually does better than the Rabbit would do.
And that's sad. Because how much did you spend on that unit?
Like $79.
Right. And so a $79 unit was doing just as good as a $500 unit.
Right, exactly.
And so that's why I say, in fact, I loaned this system out to a good friend of mine who his wife doesn't know he smokes, which is hilarious.
Which is hilarious.
Right.
She knows. I've been in it. I've been in his house. Believe me, she knows he smokes.
So here's the deal with this guy. He lives here. She lives like 4 states away. But when she comes into town, he wanted to purify the air in his house. So I let him borrow the unit. And I don't know what it did for his house, but I know for the 3 days it wasn't in my shed, it was a nightmare.
I'm sure.
Because when you get used to clean air, you don't want to not have good clean air.
Exactly.
So if you guys want to, if you investigate the Medify unit, go by the website. There's a link like 4 or 5 links down on the page. It says air purification. Go by there, and if you use the code Medify Smoker, they'll give you 10% off.
Right on. I'm going to use that code because I'm about to order mine. So,
and I tell you what, I have been super excited, and the filters on the system last for 6 months.
Right.
So, I mean, you're money ahead already. That Honeywell that I had with the cigar smoke, the filter had to be changed about every 2 months. And I've already had that for 2 months, and it's still just keeping the air super clean in here.
It's fantastic in here.
I mean, and the other thing is, I don't know if you know this, but Jay down at the Leaf ordered 2 of those units.
I did. I saw him in his office. Yeah,
he's going to have those in the new lounge.
In the new lounge.
So if you are interested, if you have your own personal lounge, or if you have your own cigar lounge, you should definitely check them out. I have been lights out impressed. So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you're smoking some good smokes. And until next week, keep smoking.